Incredible today. I open up the pages of the Toronto Star and look at that, a full page story written by their public editor, Kathy English, about my encounter a couple of weeks ago with a Toronto Star columnist named Catherine Porter. You will recall that I went to a global warming protest in Toronto at Queen's Park, and I do what I like to do at protests. I interview the most colorful protesters and I say, why are you here? And sometimes I ask a tricky question like, you're against fossil fuels. Do you own a car? You know, fairly lighthearted stuff. I was making my way and I encountered this mom who didn't identify herself as a Toronto Star reporter. She didn't have a notepad. She didn't give me a business card. She had a placard, for crying out loud. She was protesting. And she insisted I talk to her 9-year-old daughter. I told her I didn't want to talk to her, but the mom insisted. So I spent a few minutes with the family and moved on. I didn't know until I saw a column by Catherine Porter in the Toronto Star that was sort of a whole setup for her to tell her readers what a villain I was and what a hero she was, and that according to her, I had a fight with her 9-year-old daughter. Oh my God, this story bore no resemblance to the truth of our encounter, and incredibly, Catherine Porter wrote those fibs even though she knew I had the whole thing on videotape. I mean, just for a few seconds, take a look at me getting her formal consent to do the interview. I normally don't ask for formal consent, but there was a child involved, so I insisted. Here, take a look.
Yeah, my name is Catherine Porter. You have permission to talk to my daughter, Lila Bird.
Okay. Yeah, how can you say that you give consent to a filming and then lie about it? I mean, that's a whole level of weird. I'm not going to go through frame by frame and show you the differences between the truth of our encounter and the lies she wrote in the Toronto Star. If you want to see the whole thing, go to protestvideo.ca or just click here and I'll take you through lie by lie. I just want to show you two quick ones while I've got you. The first is she said I got into a fight with her 9-year-old daughter. Yeah, no, I didn't. Here's 30 seconds of my encounter with her daughter. Hi, what's your name?
My name's Lila.
Hi, Lila, I'm Ezra.
I have a question. Do you believe in climate change?
Well, it's a good question. I think the obvious answer is yes, because over the course of thousands of years, the Earth gets warmer and colder. Have you ever heard of the ice ages before?
Yes.
And we're not in an ice age now, right?
Well, kinda.
Are we in an ice age now?
Well, not now, but
So then I guess, and there's been more than one ice age, right? So the Earth has warmed and cooled over the years, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's not a fight. Oh, one more thing. She said I was bullying and belittling a guy in a chicken suit. Yeah, no, we were just joking as friends almost. Take a look. You're an anti-fart activist.
No, not at all.
You're pro-fart then?
Yeah, sure. Why
I'm
not?
joking around. Okay, one last line. She said that as I said goodbye, her daughter said, "You're being mean to my mom." Yeah, no, her daughter said, "That's my mommy you're talking to, you know that?" Take a look. It's a pleasure talking with you.
Oh, man.
Nice to meet you.
Talking to my mommy here, you know that, right?
It was nice talking with you. See you guys later. So Kathy English actually contacted me and asked for the full unedited videotape plus 15 minutes before the official encounter. I sent her all that stuff. She interviewed me. She interviewed Catherine Porter. And Kathy English today wrote a full page dressing down her own column. It's truly stunning. I mean, for a newspaper to take their own writer to the woodshed this way, I can't even think of a precedent for it. And the fact that I am ideologically the opposite of the Star, I disagree with them on so many things and vice versa, I think makes this especially remarkable because it shows that they weren't doing this as a favor to me. I'm not a friend of the Star. They were doing this in the name of their own editorial integrity and ethics. And that, you got to take your hat off to the Star. I mean, even if you disagree with them on 90% of things like I do, you have to acknowledge that they went further in terms of correcting and holding their own reporter to account than I just can think of any other place. It's amazing. That said, there is one more point I want to add before I say goodbye. When I was talking to Kathy English, the public editor, on the phone, and giving her whatever information I could, she told me something that just made my jaw drop. She said that when she was grilling Catherine Porter about this encounter, Porter said something, I was gobsmacked. I can't even believe it, and I'm about to say it now. Kathy English said that Catherine Porter, when she was being grilled about this encounter, said, "I didn't even know it was being videotaped." That's what she said to the Star. Now, this was not in Kathy English's big column today. Hang on a second. I mean, She came over to me and said, "Will you interview my daughter?" She specifically looked into the camera and said, "I give you permission to film it." She saw me holding a big microphone with the words "The Rebel" on it. She saw our camera person standing 3 feet away. That's insane for her to say she didn't know it was being filmed. Like, that's just crazy. Nothing turns on it. Of course, what she did and what I did doesn't depend on whether or not she knew it was being filmed. I'm glad it was filmed because that proved the truth of it. But I mean, nothing turns on it. It doesn't get her out of any hot water. But I think it's a window into the mind of Catherine Porter. She is a serial congenital in the DNA fibber. I'm not going to call her a deep and deadly liar. I think a BSer or a fabulist, just someone who glosses over things and creates sort of a fantasy world that's a little bit better than the facts of the reality she's living in. But can you imagine that? Even after she's caught on all the lies in her column, when she's being grilled by her own editors, comes up with an even bigger lie to try and excuse the first one. I didn't even know I was being videoed. That is insane. Maybe it's so insane the Star just couldn't even put it in their own column. It's just bizarre to me. Let me close, though, by quoting Catherine Porter. Here's from a column she wrote in the Star in May. She was talking about someone else who was caught in a lie, and then here is Catherine Porter's commentary on that. She said, "We live in lying times. Fibbing has not only become acceptable, it's expected." Yeah, I don't think that fibbing is acceptable or expected, and I think the Toronto Star proves it's not acceptable or expected there. But the lying times, eh? That sounds like the name of a newspaper, the Lying Times, a newspaper that Catherine Porter should go work for. For TheRebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant.